guys, I wanted to talk to you about something that you might know a little bit about from my Twitter feed, but there's a lot more information I want to give to you. It has to do with Maxine Waters, her collusion with Fidel Castro to help a most wanted terrorist, a cop-killing, most wanted terrorist. You know who I'm talking about, Joanne Chesimard, who goes by the fake name Assata Shakur. But did you know there was a Barack Obama connection? And you can kind of see Obama's behind my head, and his buddy Bill Ayers is behind my head, and there's a reason for that. We're going to get there. So we all know our favorite Congresswoman, Mad Max Waters, right? She's up there over my shoulder. And many of you know this because you follow me, but some may not. Michelle Malkin, Nick Short, some others have done great stories on this. In 1998, Maxine Waters, I've got a copy of it here, wrote a letter to Fidel Castro. If you can't read the headline, it says, Congresswoman Waters issues statement on U.S. freedom fighter Assata Shakur. Hold that thought for a second. Congresswoman Waters issues statement on U.S. freedom fighter Assata Shakur. So let's read the narrative from ODMP, Officer Down Memorial page. Now, right underneath Maxine Waters is New Jersey State Trooper Werner Forrester. And right next to Trooper Forrester, may he rest in peace, is Joanne Deborah Chesimard, who people like Maxine Waters call by her fake name, Assata Shakur. Trooper Werner Forrester was shot and killed Wednesday, May 2nd, 1973. Let me read you some of this narrative. Trooper Werner Forrester was shot and killed with his own service weapon after backing up another trooper who had stopped the vehicle containing 2 men and a woman on the New Jersey Turnpike. The subjects started struggling with the troopers and were able to disarm Trooper Forrester. One of the men opened fire, killing Trooper Forrester and wounding the other trooper. Now, that guy's name was Zaid Shakur. He claimed, Assata Shakur claimed later on that he was doing it to protect her. He was doing it to protect her because the troopers were coming to lock her up because they were all members of the Black Liberation Army. It goes on to say, the 3 subjects, despite the wounds, the other trooper was able to return fire and kill the subject, killed Zaid Shakur. Again, hold that name in your mind, Zaid Shakur, Z-A-Y-D. 3 subjects were members of the Black Liberation Army. The 2 surviving subjects were convicted of Trooper Foster's murder, but the female suspect, Chesimard/Assata Shakur, escaped from prison in 1979. Now, she lived on the lam in the United States for about 5 years. Intelligence estimates put her arrival in Cuba sometime around 1984. That's when she started showing up there publicly. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting. So she's part and parcel to this murder of the trooper in 1973, transferred intent. She's charged with the trooper's murder because she's a co-conspirator. Trooper Werner Forrester, right here. Joanne Chesimard, right here. Okay, she's on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list, right? 1984, she bounces around the U.S. after this 79 jailbreak. 1984, shows up in Cuba. What does Maxine Waters do? September 29th, I'm sorry. Sorry about this, it got cut off in printing. September 29th of 1998. Maxine Waters writes a letter to Fidel Castro. You want to talk about collusion with a communist, with a pro-Soviet Russia communist regime? You want to talk about ironclad collusion? Here it is. Here's the letter. Here's the letter signed by none other than Maxine Waters, chair. I don't know if you could see it. It got cut off. Maxine Waters, chair, Congressional Black Caucus. Okay. Irrefutable collusion with a communist regime. Not to win an election. That's all nonsense anyway. Not to meet a Russian lawyer to get some oppo that turned out to be nothing. Clear, ironclad in black and white collusion with a communist regime, an enemy of the United States, to protect, a most wanted terrorist cop killer. A most wanted terrorist cop killer. Now, here we go. Let me read you this letter. Now, mind you, the letter was written in 1998, 25 years after Trooper Forster's murder. 19 years after Joanne Chesimard's jailbreak, and 14 years after she was on the lam living in exile in Cuba. Maxine Waters writes, I am writing to clarify my position on a resolution recently passed by the United States House of Representatives on September 14th, 1998. I and some other members of the Congressional Black Caucus mistakenly voted for House Concurrent Resolution 254, which called on the government of Cuba to extradite to the United States Joanne Chesimard and all other individuals who have fled the United States from political persecution and received political asylum in Cuba. Now think about this. Maxine Waters, who's out there vilifying the president, this woman who is scum of the earth, wrote a letter to Fidel Castro in which she lied. Congresswoman Waters, you are a reprehensible, filthy, cop-killing, terrorist-enabling liar. You lied. No, Joanne Chesimard did not flee the United States because of political persecution. She fled the United States because she was convicted of murdering Trooper Forster. That's why she fled the United States. She was a cop killer. A cop killer that when you wrote this letter, until today, and again will be tomorrow, a cop killer on the FBI's most wanted terrorists list. Think about this for a second, people. A sitting congresswoman wrote a letter to a communist dictator at a time when that nation still is, but when that nation was really a bitter enemy of the United States, imploring Fidel Castro not to extradite the terrorist. Furthermore, said she made a mistake when she voted for extradition because she misunderstood who Joanne Chesimard was. She didn't even know that Joanne Chesimard and Assata Shakur were the same person. That's how stupid Maxine Waters is. She didn't know they were the same person. Upon finding out they were the same person, she sided with the cop-killing terrorist. Now, I want to know, going back to today, where the hell is Paul Ryan on all this? Why is Paul Ryan and every other Republican in Congress not talking about it? I don't care if this was 20 years ago, 19 years ago. I couldn't care less if it was 19 years ago. What I care about is why a convicted cop killer has been living free in Cuba for 20 plus years. And no one's done anything about it. 30 plus years, and no one's done anything about it. Well, I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to explain how this ties into Barack Obama. But first, some more excerpts from this letter. By way of explanation, she says, for the record, I am opposed to the resolution. By way of explanation, the Republican leadership quietly slipped this bill onto the accelerated suspension calendar last week as one of 13 bills. She's upset that the Republicans wanted to extradite a cop-killing most wanted terrorist. Think about that for a second. And the resolution, she says, as evidence of their deceptive intent, the resolution did not mention Assata Shakur, but chose to only call her Joanne Chesimard, her legal name, the name under which she was convicted, the name under which she sits on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. But of course, Maxine Waters, the reprehensible criminal terrorist, cop-killing, enabling moron, decided to use her fake name and acted as if she was duped and misled. She says, Maxine Waters says, once I discovered the nature of this deception, I prepared a statement of opposition. Allow me to explain why I am opposed to this measure. I'm going to read this from my desktop here because it's a little bit easier to read than this poorly printed letter. She claims she supports the rights of all nations to grant political asylum to individuals fleeing political persecution. But she's not fleeing political persecution. She was fleeing killing a cop and being declared a most wanted terrorist by the FBI. So Maxine Waters continues to lie. She then goes on to praise Cuba and Castro. The United States grants political asylum to individuals from all over the world who successfully prove they are fleeing political persecution. Well, she's not. She was a cop killer. Other sovereign nations have the same right, including the sovereign nation of Cuba. Give me a goddamn break. Give me a damn break with this. A cop killer. This is Maxine Waters, by the way, sitting representative, sitting member of Congress in the state of California. Paul Ryan and the other rhino neocons do nothing. They remain silent like the little pussies they are on this. Give me a fucking break with this, okay? This one I can't hold my language on. This pisses me off. So she just rambles on and on and on and on and on. She says things like, I will fight to maintain the ability of political refugees to find asylum in the United States and respect the rights of other governments to be able to grant political asylum. Basically, in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 paragraphs. Maxine Waters goes on and on and on without ever once mentioning that Joanne Chesimard murdered Trooper Forster. Without ever once mentioning that she's in Cuba to escape not just prosecution, she was convicted, the jail time, the punishment phase, the sentencing. Now, Donald Trump, as a precondition of any relationship with Cuba, came out and said Chesimard and those others that are living there without being extradited need to be returned. Barack Obama never did. Now, why didn't Barack Obama? Let's think about why Barack Obama didn't. Well, Remember what I told you about Joanne Chesimard's co-conspirator, the guy who actually pulled the trigger and killed Trooper Forrester? Zaid Shakur? Remember Obama's best buddy, Bill Ayers? The guy who Obama launched his political career from Bill Ayers' living room? A lot of evidence that Bill Ayers co-wrote or ghost-wrote Obama's first book. Guess what Bill Ayers named his son? Bill Ayers, Obama's best friend and political mentor, named his son Zaid, Z-A-Y-D. In honor of, he named his son, Obama's best friend, named his son Zaid in honor of Zaid Shakur, the guy who killed Trooper Forrester. Joanne Chesimard's, whatever, Shakur, out of their married boyfriend, girlfriend, freaky lovers, who the hell knows with these people? Savages. I don't know. But Bill Ayers, Barack Obama's best buddy, now you know Barack Obama loved groups like the Black Liberation Army. Hell, he invited Black Lives Matter to the White House. He had rappers facing felony charges with ankle bracelets in the White House. This is today's Democrat Party. These are the Democrats. These are the Democrats. Colluding with Castro, Obama hanging out with Bill Ayers, who blew up police stations, well, planted bombs near him, who named his son after a cop killer. Bill Ayers hates the police so much, he hates authority so much, Obama's best friend, that he named his son after a cop killer to honor that cop killer who was killed by the police. And Obama did nothing. Remember, when Obama was doing those ridiculous selfies with Raul Castro and what is it, the wave at baseball games, and then Castro, I won't even do it because I want to embarrass myself, and Castro held his hand up like Obama was some kind of little sissy. Obama never once asked for cop-killing most wanted terrorist Joanne Chesimard. I refuse to call her by her fake name, Assata Shakur, the same way I refuse to call Mumia Abu Jamal his fake name, Mumia Abu Jamal. His name is Wesley Cook. Wesley Cook murdered police officer Daniel Faulkner. That's a made-up fake Muslim name, Mumia Abu Jamal, okay? It doesn't even exist, nor does Assata Shakur. Now she lives openly in Cuba, Joanne Chesimard, despite being on the FBI's most wanted list for killing Trooper Forrester. And Obama enabled it. Obama had 8 years. He pandered and he placated, and then he gave in and gave Cuba everything they wanted, and he never one time asked for Joanne Chesimard to be returned. Why is simple? I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Why is simple? Because Obama admired her. People like Joanne Chesimard, people like the Black Liberation Army, radicals like Black Lives Matter, are the people Obama cultivates. The people that he emulated them when he was young, and he cultivates them now that he's a power broker. He loves these people. He absolutely adores these people. He respects what they do. His best buddy Bill Ayers named his son Zaid after the guy who killed Trooper Forrester. This is what Obama is. This is his foundation. These are his friends. These are the people he admires. These are the people he came up with as a community organizer. Up to the state Senate. Up to the United States Senate. And then they catapulted him. They propelled him into the White House because he was that much more radical than Hillary Clinton. And Maxine Waters, who's still a sitting congresswoman, wrote a letter to a communist dictator in defense of, in support of, and to protect and shelter from extradition a most wanted terrorist, cop killer. This is Maxine Waters, who's out there daily bashing the President of the United States, bashing conservatives like me, bashing you. You, if you guys are watching, I'm reading your comments, thanks very much. Most of them are spot on, except for the occasional Obama supporter who creeps in here like a moron and couldn't care less, these anti-American idiots. But God bless them. Watch my content. Give me more views. Make me more money. I love you for it. I love nothing more than making money off of the enemy. But we've got a situation here, and we've got a situation where Republican leadership really needs to step up and get serious about this, because there is no reason a woman who colluded with a communist dictator, Fidel, should be sitting in the United States Congress. And when she did it on behalf of a cop-killing terrorist, it's really pretty reprehensible. And so, yeah, trolls do give me more views. I agree with you. Whoever just tweeted that, you faded out before I could catch your Twitter handle. You gotta love trolls. You're going to take care of the trolls for me? Thank you very much. But we do have a significant problem when we have people like Paul Ryan, like Mitch McConnell, that won't call these guys out, these women out, in this case Maxine Waters, for their radical, anti-American, pro-criminal, pro-terrorist, pro-cop killing views. It is really absolutely disgusting. Some moron said, Maxine, that Waters is more of an American than you. No, she's not. And you are a fucking idiot. And if you don't like that language, too bad. Don't watch my Periscopes. But those are the kind of morons we have to we have to deal with, right? We have to deal with these people that enable terrorists and cop killers and then want to go out there and they think that's fun. They think that's fun. Well, Maxine Waters is a disgrace. She's an absolute disgrace. She's a disgrace to America. She's a disgrace to the United States Congress. And I call on people like Speaker Ryan and the people that are in charge of ethics to call her to task. Again, I don't care that this was 19 years ago. I couldn't care less that this was 19 years ago. Trooper Forrester's family doesn't care that it was 19 years ago. That pain hasn't gone away for them. They haven't gotten him back. They haven't gotten him back. And they never will. Yet Maxine Waters still has her seat in Congress. And Joanne Chesimard is still living openly and freely in Cuba. But the only positive thing here is that Commie Fidel is dead and in the grave and rotting. That's the only positive here. But if Maxine Waters wins again, which she probably will, because it's a tiny little district, it's very, very hard to beat a congresswoman with that much juice, somebody as corrupt as her, in a district like that. She's only going to get louder. And the way to remove her is for leadership in Congress to cut her money off. And I call on the Dems to do this as well, because it is reprehensible that Democrats are putting party over the rule of law. They're putting party over the FBI's designation of her as the most wanted terrorist, somebody Maxine Waters is protecting. Write your congresspeople. Write your congresspeople about this, because I can tweet this out, but I think speaking to you on camera about this is so much more impactful. So much more impactful. Not to mention that Maxine Waters is an absolute terrible racist. She's a terrible racist, and there's a lot of evidence, and you can speak to law enforcement people in the Los Angeles area that'll tell you that she hid gangbangers in her district office, and she often goes to bat for criminals to get them out of trouble using the race card and the liberal card. She's a terrible, terrible human being. Again, I'm going to keep bringing you content like this every day via Periscope. It's a great medium. I'm sorry that I waited so long to do it. I've just been insanely busy on so many projects, but we're going to be doing this every day, a few times a day. So thanks again for listening. Thanks for all your support. If you don't follow me at John Cardillo. If you want to reach out to me, direct message me. I think my DMs are open. Or send me an email at johncardillo.com. And do research on this on your own. Read the letter. Just Google Maxine Waters' letter to Cuba on behalf of Joanne Chesimard. This will pop up. Read the letter. Know who this woman is. She's not just a nutty old crazy lady spouting off on CNN. She's a dangerous, pro-terrorist, pro-cop killer radical. Thanks, guys. I'll speak to you soon.